is better to have a hen tomorrow than an egg today. You have a yearning for perfection. You will be awarded some great honor.
All right, welcome back, Patrick. Thank you so much for that great tour through the gallery.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. It was good.
So we'll get to some questions from the audience as they're just coming in now. All right, here we go. So what made you desire to use discarded fortunes as an artist tool?
I like the fact that because I think every single object have its own purpose. And then once you serve your own purpose, then somehow you just leave and forget about it, then it's not a very good way to treat things. So I think like to bring it back just not only about to show it, such as bring it back to mass and enjoy and actually revisit what they have been seeing before. So that's what my thing was.
That's great. And I think your work made me think so much about value and how we ascribe value to objects and sometimes the things that we don't ascribe value to. I remember when we were in the gallery talking about your work, I think you said something like, if you had a good fortune, wouldn't you want to keep it?
Yeah, exactly. So like, because I do when I the show before people do say like some of the people they do save their good fortune, but some of them they just leave it. So like I think like to saving it, it's kind of like if you have a good fortune, you keep it away, or you just want to keep it, that kind of position. So.
And I have been wondering, having sorted through tens of thousands of fortunes, all of the fortunes that are on the panels, and then in the fortune carpet, and then the ones that you hand wrote for the cookie carpet, do you have a favorite fortune? Or is there one that stuck out to you more than others, or you remember?
Because that is very interesting, because most people will think like fortunes is very positive fortunes. Every fortunes be positive. But again, when I typing it, either like could be like late at night or could be too much coffee. I'm not so sure, but they kind of think some is very interesting message. But I won't tell you which one it is. But yeah, you have to come in and find that out. So it's really interesting. Like I can share the picture later, but it's interesting. It's like wow. But I want to true to the fortunes, so I just type it back on again.
I think that's the one of the amazing things, as you pointed out. Once you start reading the fortunes, you really can't stop. And maybe you find one that you have read before and triggers a memory for you, and then before you know it, you've read thousands and thousands of fortunes.
Yeah.
So we have a few more questions in the queue.
Yeah.
We have someone saying, "Hi Patrick, great work. Have you ever used the lottery numbers to play? Any wins?"
No, I didn't, because I just know lots of common numbers, but I already have enough fortune anyway, so I'm good fortune. I'm good.
Oh, that's good. Leaving the good fortune for others.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. To what extent, whoa, we have so many questions. I almost scrolled through all of them. To what extent does the inspiration behind using the fortunes and fortune cookies transfer to your work as an architect?
Because the thing is the detail and how you precisely put the thing, placing it together into a room, for example, into an architect, into just kind of like a perspective wise. The detail is very important, because like the fortune is like, yes, you can grab it's kind of like you can grab anything, but you need to somehow to, how you say it, is assemble back together in a way that is actually makes sense. Otherwise, it's like you just have a pile of discarded fortune cookies and what can you can do with it. So that's how I change it. The detail, the the layer of detailing is very important. I mean, it's more interesting, and also texture-wise is you still do come to the show because like it's actually your eyes will experience the texture of the push pin, the texture of the fortune slips, and also the audio of my friends. Like they were saying, my friend was describing the reading out loud all the fortunes, and then for the new fortune cabinet is the senses. What happens is that there's actually the real fortune cookies coated with plasters. So in the way, it's kind of like you can have kind of like sense of smell of a cookie, kind of like the trying to play with the different notions of the sensory. You know, that's what I want to. Texture is more important, I think.
It's true. This is an exhibition that you really have to see to experience. Like Patrick said, all of the different sensory elements, the movement of the fortune carpet, and I think you can even smell the cookies a little bit, or maybe that's just us being hungry.
Yeah, could be, yeah.
And so we have quite a few more questions from the audience. Which piece was your favorite to work on?
Which piece is obviously the fortune paper. I mean the first piece was the fortune discarded fortune slips. Is when I actually redocumented. It was from the kind of like the very dirty, very like soy sauce. Like I had to go through this because to actually document it, that kind of more care in a way, just to like, how am I going to read it? Because when they send, because people there, the rating ratios, they are nice. They send me in whole pile, but then again, they are not care enough to like clean it up for me. So that's why I think it's more spending most of the time with them. And then the second piece would be certain piece of my favorite would be the cookie cabinet, which is like you can see all the fortunes. It's like so many layers, the process to how to coat the fortunes with plasters to make it actually like work. You know, this I test out different methods and multiple attempts, and then eat a lot of cookies just to get that kind of like a result. So yeah.
And you must have spent so much time, like you said, with meditating on those words when you were copying them, either typing them into the computer or writing them on to become meditative, sort of like little mantra or.
And then like, you also, I do notice like there are a lot of duplicates, and then sometimes when you hit the duplicates, you have to be okay. You have to be very have to understand that like, okay, this has been there before. Like you have to document it. The process is long process, but it's worth it. You know, like for people bringing it back. And actually, when I was there on Saturday and I saw people actually reading it, that's rewarding. That's very rewarding for me. So.
And that's the feedback we've heard from everyone in the library and visitors, that they want to read every single one, and they are drawn in by the work, just as you described, by the glimmering push pins to start, and then they get in and start to read one or two, and just pulls the viewer right in. And such an engaging, every work so engaging, and then bringing them all together in the context of the exhibition.
That's good. Thank you.
So we have another question here. Do you believe in fortune telling, Patrick?
Do I believe fortune telling? I believe everyone have a good fortunes, but how they actually read it, how they actually hit their heart, really. Because like sometimes perhaps you may see some sort of wording is actually touch your heart for your daily life, you know. But do I believe in it? I believe positive. Yes, I do, you know, but yeah, I do. Yeah, you know.
One of the things that we were talking about is, as you know, this is our first exhibition at the Preston Gallery since we've reopened. And talking about what what a positive note it is to reopen that space. So many positive affirmations. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the cookie carpet and some of the surprises that we might find without giving too much away, so people can visit and find those surprises for themselves. But I also know that you were working on that work earlier in the year while so many things were closed. And I wonder if you'd share how much that experience of being at home and things that were going on across the globe impacted the work you were doing.
Because what happened was I was preparing for the exhibitions, and then at the time was pandemic, and I didn't still now, but I was thinking like, and now looking at all the cookies and writing on the message and thinking like, they are all very positive messages. Like, well, the thing is like, especially now the time, I think like it's good to write something that actually like how am I going to say, like lift people's spirit a bit in a way, you know. So come and see, you will find some actually interesting, you know, interesting thing. I won't give a, you know.
I think you're right. We won't give away too much, so those surprises are there for the visitors to find when they get to Preston. We still have a lot more questions. We'll try to get to as many as we can.
Sure.
Someone is wondering, how long did each piece take to complete?
Ooh. That is like a long journey. That's like a long journey, like because for the panels and it's been a couple of years, and then because it's still continuous, like even now, some occasion I still got some a mail package and say from the old fortune slip, and then I just still collecting it because I guess in the way. If people know me, I'm probably like a kind of like a hoarder, you know, kind of like I like to still collecting things, and somehow I still document it, but then again, hopefully can go expand further, you know. And yeah, overall, I would say it's a lot of hours and long hours for each single pieces. So, and then like, yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, and then like for the fortune cities and also like a painstakingly drawing every single city, because the city is actually doing research, and also like the city actually is a skyline that says a represent of at that time for the city. So yeah, it's interesting. It's fun process. It's good. And
am I right thinking that it became a part of your everyday because it was the block of time that you'd return to in the evening?
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, just like couple hours after work, and it's kind of fun time, you know. It's good.
Okay, still lots of questions. So did you have a vision for what you would do with the fortunes when you began collecting them, or did you start collecting and then come up with the idea for the exhibition?
No, it's actually the idea first before the exhibitions. Like I was saying, because like I was really fascinating because when I first come to this city, Canada, and I do notice the people like fortune cookies, and then even like and then even like I think like seriously, people actually read it, and then like you can see. I'm sure you all see like people like just leave their fortune on the table and just walk away. I feel like that is something like to document it. I don't know how far. The thing is the journey. I know is going to be long to document. I don't know. It's no purpose, but I just keep on going, and hopefully, let's just start now. I'm even like thinking it could be a bigger scale. Like how big? I don't know yet. But then again, like still it can be. That's the exciting part because you go into the unknown. So yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful, Patrick.
Thank you.
Another question. Are fortunes from fortune cookies more meaningful to you after having interacted with so many?
I think the fortunes is more meaningful to the fortune writers, which is often they will be at a coffee shop, like drinking the coffee and just writing up their fortunes. That's what I heard, you know. And then it's more important than to them because they just like see the fortune there. they're very interesting, and then somehow, some way, it touch people's heart and touch people daily emotion. So,
I think that's what your exhibition does as well, bringing everything together, like you say, returning some good fortune.
yeah, so I hope so. Thank you.
So on a similar note, we have someone in the audience asking, how did the creation of this artwork change you?
Not really, because I just changing made me more more like a have a way to do things. So that's kind of particular work. So it's not just more focus on the detail oriented. I think, I guess, in a way.
And we have another question.
Yeah.
Looking at the aesthetic of the work in the exhibition. All of the work in the show is white. Was this color choice part of your larger approach to stimulating all the senses?
Yes, in a way, because obviously the push pin was kind of like a shine, just the shininess of it, and then when you focus for it, it's kind of like when you, it's, to me, it's like more or less like a zoom in 10 is like when you zoom it in, like 2 steps further, then you see better, and 2 steps better, you see clear, and then like at the end, you actually like about a foot in front of the object, you actually see it more clearly. That's what I expecting the thing. So that keeping kind of like the white frame or the kind of like the fortune carpet would be like, or the dirt kind of like it's like kind of like very hazy. It's kind of like the idea of it. Yes.
Okay, and I think we have time for one more question.
Yeah, sure.
And this is from a fellow artist, a beginner artist. Do you have any advice for beginner artists who feel pressured to be creative?
My advice would be like you can do anything to be creative. Just like open your mind. Like it's like just don't be afraid to try different things, and then like things will come to you. Like seriously, that's like don't be afraid, because often people they create or they drawing things, they worry about how the neighbors, how the people seeing their work. But then again, by that kind of like thinking, they actually blocking their creativities. But if you forget about other people and then just like create, and then it's like the things will come out. So it's like that's what art is about. It's creating beautiful objects, it makes sense.
Thank you, Patrick. I see I skipped over one more question.
Yeah, sure.
Someone's asking if you could elaborate on the relationship between the cookies and the lottery numbers.
Okay, so that's a very interesting, because as I, the discarded fortunes, right, is no one really want, and just pay with the notion of the opposite. What I mean by is people actually throwing out the fortunes, which is the fortunes, the discarded fortunes, right, from the beginning, right? But then again, everybody want to win something, the lottery number, kind of like being the juxtaposition of the kind of like the like wanted versus unwanted. Like everybody want that numbers, right? That's 2 panels. Like you can see one panel is unwanted, which is the fortunes, and the other panel is the wanted, because everybody that's a money thing. So this whole idea, rather than giving them just a random number from the computers, this actually is a winning auto numbers. That's why just paint the juxtaposition of the wanted and unwanted. Yeah.
That's wonderful, Patrick. I think that's all the questions that we have time for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you so much. It's been such a privilege and a pleasure for our team to work with you on this exhibition, and your stories are so engaging, and the work in the gallery so much so. And I know that you really tonight, especially with all the stories you've shared, encouraged us to think about things a little bit in new ways, things that are maybe familiar or discarded. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Avert misunderstanding while calm poise and balance. You are careful and systematic in your business arrangements. A thrilling time is in your immediate future.